You haven't forgiven me. Those were my mother's words a few weeks before she passed away. She was 57 when she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I took her hand in mine and said, Mom, I forgive you. I've always forgiven you. A knot tightened in my chest. Had I really forgiven her? She pulled her hand away and said, You couldn't possibly forgive me. If you knew what I had done to you, you would never forgive me. My body tightened and my resolve wavered. I didn't know what she had done, but I felt it. Most of us think forgiveness is something we do for the other person, a debt we cancel, a door we open, a higher road that we take. And too often we do one of two things. We withhold forgiveness, waiting for acknowledgement, or we perform forgiveness before we're ready. Either way, we carry a story. Have you held on to have you ever held on to something even though it caused you pain? Because letting go felt like saying it didn't matter. Like forgiving would betray your pain. Or if you stop being angry, no one would remember what it cost you. I have for years. I thought I had forgiven her. My mother and I had a complicated history. She was a teenager when she had me. My father left shortly after I was born. She had run into his arms, escaping an abusive family. She wasn't the mother I wanted, and I made it mean something about me. That's what we do, isn't it? Something happens, and before we finished feeling it, our minds build the story. She didn't show up. I must not matter. She was volatile. I must not be lovable. She treated me unfairly. I must not be worthy. The event happens and meaning follows automatically. And then we carry that meaning, not what they did, but what we made it mean about us for years, sometimes decades, sometimes a lifetime. And inside that meaning is a quiet accusation. They were wrong. They should have known better. They owe me something. I thought I forgave her again and again. But what I didn't realize was that my forgiveness came with judgment. I measured her against the mother she should have been. So when she said, If you knew what I'd done to you, you would never forgive me, part of me felt vindicated. I wanted to know, not because I thought it would help me forgive her, but so I could wave it around like a trophy and say, See, I was right. But I also knew knowing would only thicken the barrier. That's the temptation, isn't it? To know exactly how terrible something was before we decide whether it deserves forgiveness. We tell ourselves, how can I forgive something if I don't know the full extent of it? But often, what we're really asking for is more proof, more evidence for the story, more reasons to stay tethered to a past that cannot change. In that moment, beside her bed, I saw my mother differently. She never had a childhood. She lived in survival mode her entire life. She didn't have the safety, role models, the tools, or the space to become someone different. She did the best she could with what she had. It wasn't perfect, not what I wanted, but the very best she had. And I began to understand forgiveness is not about letting someone off the hook. It's about forgiving ourselves for making them out to be wrong in the first place. Not wrong as in harm didn't happen. Harm did happen. But wrong as in they should have been someone they were not capable of being. When we decide someone was wrong, that they should have known better, done better, given us something they didn't, we stay attached, not to them, to the story. Resentment isn't protection. It's a long argument with reality. I want you to think of someone you haven't forgiven. Not the biggest one if that feels overwhelming, just the first person that comes to your mind. Now ask yourself, what did I make their behavior mean about me, about my worth, about love, about what I deserved? Because that meaning, not the past event, is what you're still carrying. Now imagine that same person as a 5-year-old child, just trying to navigate and survive the environment that shaped them. Can you forgive that child? Because that's when their survival strategies were formed. And if no one ever models a different way or showed them safety, those same strategies simply grow up with them. Can you let yourself off the hook for judging them? Not because what happened was okay, it wasn't, but because they were trying to survive their story with the limited awareness they had at that moment. Just like you, just like me. My mother helped me understand I had forgiven her. I just hadn't forgiven myself for judging her, for needing her to have been different, for making her limitations mean something about me. Forgiveness is the moment that you stop arguing with the past. The moment you say, they did the best that they could, and so did I. And when you release that story, what remains is not resentment, uncertainty, or that knot in the pit of your stomach. What remains is love. Not the kind of love that says everything was okay. It wasn't. But the kind of love that sees our shared humanity, our limitations, our attempts to survive, because that is the moment that love becomes the answer. Thank you.